Welcome to Gospel Diaries, a platform that offers a unique avenue for artists to share their stories, to express their thoughts, emotions, and personal journeys. Today we're with Elsa Harris.
We'll see you through.
Yeah, we'll see you through.
We'll see you through.
Yeah, we'll see you through.
We'll see you through.
Yeah, we'll see you through.
I know we'll see you through.
I know we'll see you through.
I found the answer.
Found the answer in
I'm gonna tell it.
I'll tell it.
'Cause I know.
I know.
I know.
I know.
I know. I'm gonna go there again. That way.
You want me to turn around?
Yes, ma'am. Welcome to Gospel Diaries, y'all. We are back, and I'm with the also lovely. Would you look at her and look at this dress? Look at the print. My God, black is beauty. Don't never let nobody tell you anything different. Okay, I'm with the one and only Miss Elsa Harris. May I please shake your hand?
Thank you. Thank you.
This is part 2.
Yeah.
I had to come back. Because I feel like I didn't do enough justice for your role in the secular world.
Okay.
You know, because I think that's a very good point, because we have a lot of gospel artists today that are kind of reluctant about, you know, going out and kind of creating history in the secular world, because we feel like the church has, you know, a hold on them. Like you're either going to be gospel or you're not going to be gospel. And we got to talk about it.
Okay.
Okay. But before we go into that, you've been traveling.
Yeah,
You've been to France?
Yes.
Okay. How long did it take you to get over there?
Well, you know, you lose time going because you're going east, so didn't take that long. I guess about 9 hours.
Wow. And the name of the event was On the Mississippi.
That's what the producer
So
called it.
what do you know where he got the name from?
I don't even know. I tried to find out. He was so busy. That's the basic question I wanted to ask him. Why do you call it On the Mississippi? Mississippi is in here in the United States.
Well, perhaps because they did explore blues, right?
Yes.
So perhaps he was kind of going back to the roots of blues, like Delta blues and that rural blues in Mississippi.
I think
that
that's
makes
what
sense.
it was about.
And you were there singing gospel, which makes sense, right? Did you do any secular out there?
No, I started to lean on me because you know we do. Even with Jessy Dixon years ago, we did things like Lean on Me with the Norwegian choirs. I mean, we didn't just do gospel. And of course, with Paul Simon, we did his songs, Bridge Over Troubled Water, Sound of Silence, Mother and Child Reunion. But when we did our little A&B selection, of course it was gospel. And that all happened in one setting on the stage. So, you know, I've never had a different lifestyle. It's been always a little R&B in there somewhere, you know. I tell you, I just got a phone call one day on this phone right over here.
The one over there.
Yeah. And the promoter called. I think he had seen me or something on video from Old School of Music play.
Wow. Because
Steve Dolan's would always have me on those programs. And he knows Irvin Helfer. So he says, I would like to invite you. And I'm like, I didn't know this man. I don't know anything, but my life has been full like that. Here I go, getting on a train, a plane, and you don't know who gonna pick me up at the airport, what they look like or nothing. But we finally got it all together. It was no problem. We made nice contact. And, you know, God just made easy and successful my way.
You're with the Jessy Dixon Singers.
Right.
And you're with this secular group.
Right.
What is the church saying about this?
They ain't said nothing.
They ain't said nothing?
No, I mean, but being glad for me, because how many people can say they've done that?
What about Jessy? Because he's with Reverend Milton Bronson, Pastor Reverend Blair. Like he's a known gospel musician. So, and we're talking like in a time where it was definitely forbidden to straddle that fist.
Because we were going through a time where Martin Luther King had just passed a few years before, and I had to drop out of college, and a bunch of stuff happened. But it's like Paul Simon had like a 12-piece band behind him with some of the best musicians on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's this fellow that played 4 sticks on the drums? His name will come to me in a minute. Anyway, this famous bass player, famous Howard Johnson on the what you call that big tuba instrument, and I can't name all the famous people. One of them just died, a saxophone player. I forget his name, but I just saw it on the news the other day. He just died. He also played with us, went everywhere, in or out of the country,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a part of Jesse's income.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was asked from the time we went to Radio City Music Hall, and did the gospel 8 a.m. morning segment.
Mm-hmm.
Where Bette Midler and Paul Simon and Etta James, I'm not sure who all else was in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Paul decided he wanted that group. He called Jessy and said, I want your group to travel with me, because Simon and Garfunkel had just split up. You know?
Right.
And as soon as Jessy picked himself up off the floor and realized this was for real,
wow,
he called us and told us this is what we got to do. And it lasted 8 years.
So you had to go get your passport.
Oh, yeah.
So who led you through that process? How did you?
You live, you learn, and you read.
Do you think it was difficult at that? You know, as an African American, in that era to get a passport than it is now. It was probably the same.
No, I went downtown to the Federal Building or whatever, and stood in line like everybody else.
Really?
Got my picture.
Took your picture.
Right. I was all the way grown by then, 20-some years old. So. Yeah, I just did follow the directions. And it wasn't hard at all. I'm on my 7th passport, and the last one I did it online, email.
Look,
they emailed me through.
Much more accessible now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're with this group now. Are you finding yourself? Are people starting to recognize you? Like, are you in public? People like, oh, you're part of the Jessy Dixon figure. Really?
Yeah. We were moving.
How does that feel?
I didn't care.
But I'm saying you're on the stage, thousands of people, Paul Simon, everybody running up there. Oh, you get your autograph. It's so good to see you. But here we are, the Jessy Dixon singers, and you mean to tell me no one recognized you?
Well, we were singing to a white Jewish audience. Paul Simon's a Jew, okay? Not a real strict Jew, but that's why he let us sing about Jesus for our A and B selection. What do you call him? Jesus, and Jesus is the answer. What's his name? Song Andre Crouch's song. For the world today. He let us sing those songs as he announced us. And now, ladies and gentlemen, all the way from Chicago, the JDs, affectionately called the JDs, the Jessy Dixon Singers. Bam, and we hit it. Okay, I sang my part from the piano. Ethel Holloway and Aldria Lennox stood behind Jessy, and we did our A&B selection. Then we stepped back, and we would do Bridge Over Troubled Water, Sound of Silence, Mother and Child Reunion, songs like that. More secular songs in the same hour. And the Jews didn't have a problem with it. Well, you're going to find a few that did, but for the most part, packed audiences everywhere. When, we did the Chicago Opera House.
Oh, yeah.
And with Bette Midler.
Bette Midler, yeah.
Yeah, and that's another whole story. Do you have time to hear it?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Jessy said, I'm busy. Go pick him up from the airport. So I had a little white, what kind of car? A Chevette or something. They don't even make them anymore. A little small car. But I went and picked him up and dropped him off at the, what do you call that big hotel where the Lakeshore Drive curves around?
Isn't that talking about the Drake?
The Drake.
Okay.
So I dropped him off the Drake. The next day, they want to rehearse. And Jessy said again, let him rehearse over your house. At the time, I didn't have a house, but I roomed with the family. Check it out now. That I looked up in the newspaper. They were part Polish and part Irish, mother and father, sisters, and they had this huge apartment on Hyde Park Boulevard. You could walk to the Museum of Science and History. It was that close. And he said, yeah, let him go to your house. So he had been there. He knew how big the place was. And I had a dining room. They allowed me to get a piano. I had one of these upright pianos to go in the dining room. Long story short, we did a nice rehearsal. Him and Bet came on over. We did our rehearsal. And we left out the door going to, would you believe, Stranger's Home, where since Jessy was really busy, he didn't mean it in a bad way, but he had overbooked himself. He's with the Chicago community on one side of town, and he said, you and Ethel and Audrey, you go do Stranger's Home in Cabrini Green tonight. And Paul Simon said, I want to go. And Bette Miller said, I want to go. I said, okay, let's hop in my little car. Let's go.
Paul Simon got in your car.
All three of us sit on the first row.
Mercy.
Well, he's short and Beth is short, so it worked. All three of us on the front row. They don't make front seats like that anymore.
The memory.
Yeah, tell me about it. And anyway, we did he had a mother of pearl strung all the way down the neck guitar, which somebody had given to him. This is the scary part. We do the concert, and Audrey and Ethel just showed out. They walked the aisles just singing all
yes.
And when it was over, Bette Miller said, oh, I enjoyed it so much. I just cried. I enjoyed it so much. And Paul Simon said, I should have brought my guitar. I could have brought my guitar. And he had left it in the car. I said, your guitar. Let me see if your guitar. And to myself, I'm saying, and the car is still in the parking lot.
Oh, Lord. I think it probably wasn't in the car.
Yeah, well, it was. Okay. So I just left them and ran out. I didn't tell them what I was thinking. And it was a full moon out that night, and the moon was just shining on all of that mother of pearl. Anybody could see. And we were the only car left in the parking lot. So it would have been an easy kill. Yeah. Just break the window and pull it out. Anyway, God. But God. He took care of us. So I drove them back to the Drake Hotel. And day after that, he invited the whole group to come up and eat dinner with him. It's the second floor at the Drake where Bette Midler's apartment was on one side of this long table hallway, and Paul's room was on the other side. And we ate at this long table like you see in the movies. But we didn't eat from one end to the other. We just all gathered together. Yeah, so that was an exciting moment for me.
You say that it's encouraging about being with Paul Simon. Like, what are some of the things that you've taken away from working with Paul Simon?
Oh, God. Spiritually, mentally, socially, emotionally, there are all kind of different ways. One time I was getting ready to eat some food because they always had food in the back for us. And I felt this kick in my behind. I turned around and it was Paul saying, you don't need that. That stuff will kill you.
That's
it was so food.
Talking, huh?
Oh, yeah. I said, no, he didn't just kick me, Ooh, Paul, I'm sorry if you ever hear this. But anyway, and another memory is we're in Japan having an authentic Japanese dinner at an authentic restaurant where you sit on the floor. Those days, I still could sit on the floor and get up. Now, Aldria, that was a different problem. But anyway, we helped each other up. And while we were sitting on the floor, we had done PTL for years, back and forth. So I had this little PTL pen on. And Paul was sitting across from me. He said, what does that stand for? I said, it stands for Praise the Lord, Paul. Do you really believe in that? I said, yes, I do. And it gave me a chance to witness, because we stood up for what we believe. I mean, fast forward to New York. I remember an interview that Jessy Dixon and Paul Simon and Clive Davis had in one room while me and Ethel and Audrey waited in the other room because he wanted to sign. I wanted Jessy to sign. He wanted to sign up Jessy. And Jessy said no, he couldn't do it because it was against his religious beliefs for them to dictate what songs and all of that. He said it was like, no, we're not going that far with it. He wanted to still be able to click his song. And to this day, I'm glad about that. Yeah, we could have been famous as the Supremes or whatever, not shaped like the Supremes. But you know, I'm saying we could have been that famous, that fast, but it really didn't matter because we stood for what we believed in religiously. Yeah, we like some of the secular songs because when you get to the weddings, you're gonna play some secular songs.
That's true.
You're gonna play "Baby, Baby, I Love You," or something that has to do with love and honor, and you know. And why is it so bad the rest of the year, but it's okay when you get married?
Yeah.
You know. So the church has got to learn that. You know. Now, it depends on the denomination. I don't even want to go all the way into that. But some denominations is perfectly all right, and some other denominations is like they got a real problem with. They don't even know why they had a problem. But anyway, they like the rhythm, they like the beat, they
it's
like
entertainment.
how you sing. It's more entertainment, and they like the history background, the historical background. Most of them know more gospel history than we do going over there and singing it to them. Because they tell us that when we get there. I remember so and so and so and so, and this and that and the other. Because Chicago is the mecca of blues and gospel. Most people have to remember that. It's an intermingling. Thanks to Thomas A. Dorsey, you got a bluesy sound at all with gospel, the traditional gospel, because he brought it in whether he wanted to or not. It was just in his genes, you know. But otherwise, we wouldn't be able to sing some of the I just thought of one. What is a song like that?
I know the Lord will make a way.
We'll make a
Oh, yes, we will. Okay.
And that's bluesy as all get out. If you want to be totally honest.
Because blues was definitely a predecessor of gospel music. I mean, because gospel music got its interpretation from the blues.
I like the word you use, predecessor, because Thomas A. Dorsey came from the blues house.
Absolutely.
And the only reason he didn't accept, from what I read, the churches at first that much because the blues paid more. But then after he lost his wife and his child, he dedicated his precious Lord and different things. But that's where the rock bottom starts with gospel and blues here. And when you get overseas, they'll let you know, I'm coming to the blues festival. You know, they will come all the way from Europe here to the blues festival.
By the way, that was just probably last week or 2 weeks ago. Right?
Yeah, it was. I think so. And I think the gospel part is.
You know what? I got a bone to pick. They picked the rainiest day in Chicago to put the gospel festival.
It's almost every year.
Every year. As a child, I remember being rained on.
But you know what was good? One year we were on, and as soon as we finished our last note, and Jessy hit one of those high notes, it was like the sun was shining, but the clouds were coming in and packed people standing out there. I'm like, any minute now. But we kept on with it. As soon as he hit that high note, it was like he made the water come down. But it was coming anyway. It was so gracious that God let us have up to the last second. It was like, okay, that's enough. And the people, they had enjoyed it so much, they were standing there saying, I'm baptized. Slow that down.
The WJ McFatter, which Willie James, my godfather, used to sing with the Alex Bradford singing.
Yeah.
I'm going to play a video.
I didn't know.
Hello, I'm Eric Maurice Clark, here to introduce the WJ McFatter Gospel Foundation. Willie James McFatter is a name not known to many in the gospel music community, but his piano and organ skills were unmatched. As a teenager, I hosted a television show, and through that show, I met WJ McFatter. He was on the radio and agreed to let me interview him. Later, I went with him to a funeral home and sat with him on an organ bench while he played. I heard him start to sing and glanced around the chapel, only to find that golden voice that pierced my soul was sitting next to me. From that point, I felt compelled to learn of his musical journey, to learn of the culture behind gospel music. WJ was a member of the Alex Bradford Singers, a group known for their harmonies and gospel standards such as Too Close to Heaven. Willie James shared with me many experiences. I absorbed all I could, loving to hear his moving stories. I learned of yesteryear's struggles and victories. My life's work was forming before my very eyes. Willie James shared his feelings of being forgotten. A has-been. Those feelings weighed on him. I started to carry his burden and wondered how many other gospel music heroes had stories that have been overlooked as well. In 2015, Willie James passed. His death struck me hard. My mind was immersed in the compelling stories and his feeling of neglect from the gospel world. The fact that his voice was silenced took a toll on me. I have dedicated my life to this work. My heart's desire is to bring awareness to the value of learning from these past gospel greats. By doing so, we care for these jewels in our community and provide a platform where their stories can be heard in their own words. I present to you the WJ McFatter Gospel Foundation.
If you are a witness, let God abide. Let God abide. If you've been converted, let God abide. Let God abide. If you're sure that you know Him, and if He walks by your side, you gain the victory, the victory to every problem if you let God abide.
I just started this, so right now we're in the process of the 501c3. But I said that to say that one of the things that's going to have us stand out is that my heart is for benevolence. Like a lot of the artists back in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, I'll even say the 80s, they was not sophisticated in the business side. So a lot of their residuals and things of that sort is like just non-existent. So our organization is we have a benevolence fund where we're going to be able to help artists, singers. You're gonna make me cry because this is a dream come true. Oh man, this is real. This is real. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. All right. I know. I'm not going there. I'm not. Oh man, why did I have to do this? Okay.
Because it's just in you that deep. Yeah. No problem.
Okay. All right, we're back. Okay. No, so seriously, so that's what our organization is going to, because I travel a lot, and I see a lot of gospel artists, and some of them, they just barely making it, and that hurts my heart. Like, and I want to celebrate them, but I also want to, financially contribute to their hardships. Wow. So that's why I started this organization. I'm grateful that God has he's given me a grant writer. Wow. We have a full board, so like we're really on the move. Oh my! And so I want to take this vulnerable moment to talk about your experience on the business side. Some of the things that you made that you didn't know that you realized today that you can share to help some people today.
I don't know if this should go on.
Well, share what you can.
And I'm glad Ethel and Andrea are not here right now, because they would probably be more honest than I am. But anyway, with Paul Simon, I'm going to be very nice and say he always gave us residuals, not a problem. But sometimes he gave them to Jessy and he didn't distribute them right. I'm just going to leave it right there.
Listen, the truth will set you free. That's where I am today, because like, how can we help someone? That's how, the older days, that's why a lot of people didn't grow past their leadership, because their leadership, they had I'm not saying that you did, but I'm just saying this university, they had this fear. And they didn't want to ask questions. They felt like they was just indebted to the leaders. But we have to talk about this to break that cycle.
You're right. So he never knew that we knew.
Yeah.
So we just
And that has, listen, it has happened across this city, and you know that. In the churches, in the community choirs, everywhere in the
No, I
gospel
didn't know it
field.
was
Well,
happening.
yes. But
Wow.
I really want to know, so what do you know today that you wish you would have known in the past that you could say today that can help
Let me
somebody?
tell you what's educational to me.
Okay.
This tour that I just went on,
Okay.
I had to sign something for Social Security, and it takes them 3 months for it to get back to France.
Mm-hmm.
But they were nice enough to pay me anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so I had to send them all my information and my bank account numbers
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. So bam, that money was right there, even though it was after I came home. And I experienced some things by my being like my own promoter. You might as well say I'm seeing things firsthand for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, okay. I had to fill out forms. I had to do all that. I had to fill out forms that say it's okay to film me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, oh really?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was just really an educational tour all the
And
way
they
around.
didn't give you that type of element back in the day, like in the wow.
We never had to think about that. The subject never came up.
Did you write any songs?
No, I didn't. I helped write songs, but
But you never got any writer's credit for that.
no.
Wow. You know, I'm glad we're having this conversation because a lot of times people were taught, like especially in the church, do this because of the Lord. Do this in the name of Jesus. But someone is taking something to the bank. You know what I mean? But either the musician is not getting paid well enough, the pastor is getting paid. And we just got to understand that we have to be aware of this today because we have to live. Because I found. See, back in the day, like a lot of times people would record because it was popular, it get notoriety and things of that sort, and perhaps get on the road. But sometimes if they didn't save their money right,
Yep.
They didn't know that they would outlive, So now their music is still making money,
Yep.
and they have
Residuals.
no type of connection to it other than it's just their voice.
Well, that's what got me about Minnie Riperton. Now she's been dead how many years?
Wow, a lot, many years.
Okay, well since I've been living here is when Maravich called me and said, "Please call SAG after they got some money for you," and the residuals just poured in. I did mention that on the interview, number one interview. We won't go into the amount, but I'm like, thank you.
Thank you,
God.
Jesus.
God, watch out for this black child.
Yes. Now, since we're here, because I think we talked about that good enough. Because we're gonna try to bless you. Okay. So let's talk about your work with Minnie Riperton. How did that start?
Let's see. I'm just trying to think. How did that start? Somebody told me about backgrounding at Chess Recording Studio. I don't even remember who told me. I was in my early 20s, and I just gotten my own little apartment. That's why I know I was at least 21 or older, because I had a efficiency apartment with a little kitchenette with no bed yet, sleeping on a cot, and just a Coke and a loaf of bread in my refrigerator. But my point is, I was playing for Omega Baptist Church, so I had that change coming in. They paid me every week. But somebody called and added me to Shirley Walls, and I forget the other lady's name. She moved to California and started advertising for Coca-Cola.
Wow.
But anyway, SAG AFTRA asked me about her because they wanted to send residuals to her.
Shirley or the other lady?
The other lady.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I called Shirley. She said, "No, I'm not on that list. I think it was for a certain song at a certain time." And I know they were playing it for a while. They were advertising, la 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 to Fleur.
You're on that song?
Yeah.
What are you doing on that song? That's on that album, right?
Yeah.
That's the In the Garden album, right? So you're doing background vocals on that album, right?
Yeah.
Are you playing it?
No, I just did.
So
vocals.
you're on that song singing,
Standing right next to me.
Standing right next to Minnie.
She always sang higher than me, but
that was in 1970, right? Yeah, I know.
Get the album.
It was 1970. My mind ain't tricking me. It was 1970.
Okay.
I know it was 19.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, so you actually was with that legend. I mean, she have created so many hits. Back down memory lane.
Yeah. Thanks to Charles Stephanie. He
Stephanie,
was the
yes.
engineer who turned the knobs.
Mm.
And her group called the Rotary Connection.
Rotary Connection.
Yeah.
So were you a part of the new Rotary Connection or the
I was
first
never
one?
a part of the group at all, but Charles saw creative ability in me. I was still going to Vandercook College at the time. He says, write me or make me out a background for Rotary Connections for this song. Cash it in today. I think that was the song, whatever it was. And I came back the next day. I said, okay, this is your vote. Take it all, take it all, take it all. Da, da, da. I think they used it, but I never got anything. It was just a little few bars or whatever, But it's amazing. I've learned to take everything in stride, especially at my age. I'm like, Lord, you're the only father I ever really knew. And I know you taking care of me.
Okay.
My angels are working overtime.
Okay.
So I'm like, you go before me and figure this out, straighten this out, because I can't even deal with it. Either I'm going to get some residuals or I'm not. And basically, us church people were left to think like that because, we didn't know how to deal with the what do I want to say, the legalistic part of all of it. We just didn't know. And a lot of things I'm still learning.
And it's like they don't want to take the time and teach you. They don't mind using your voice, but they don't want to take the time to teach.
Right, and then some of us didn't know that we need to belong to SAG-AFTRA because I still get residuals sometimes, very minimal, but from songs that might a re-recording that might be played for Paul Simon or whatever. So I'm grateful for whatever I get per year. I get my little 1099 form at the end of the year or whatever. But Minnie Riperton, I think it was because of that. I told you last time what it was, but I can't think of the name.
She's pop culture.
Okay.
Minnie Riperton is pop culture. And I pray one of these days, like, I see a stage for you. And everything's going to come to full circle. It really is, because you just have a beautiful spirit. And I just don't believe that God, will allow you not to see the fruit of your labor. Not with the passion that you have distributed with it. Sometimes people are very arrogant. You know what I mean? You're so humble. Humility. It rules in you. You can tell, like, you still teaching. And I know I'm probably talking for you, but I know you have a passion for it. Like, you want to see people actually develop and hone those skills.
Right, that's why I wrote that book.
Listen here now. We are so into Miss Elsa Harris, okay? This book is online, right?
Amazon.
So it's on Amazon. It's called 5 Steps Easy Ear Training for Piano. Listen, I'm going to put her information on the screen, Cash App and everything. Listen, y'all hit it up, okay? Don't make me upset. Y'all hit it. No, for real, though. Y'all hit it up. This is a beautiful one. She's a legend, y'all. And I'm here to celebrate her.
Thank you.
Yeah. But before we go, we got to talk about Jessy.
Okay.
Songs like, oh, my God, I Am Redeemed.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's all about testimonies.
Yeah.
It's like people, they want to throw us or cast us away, but it's simple. I'm redeemed.
Right.
I've already been bought with a price.
There you go. Hallelujah.
If anybody asks you, James Herndon said, he said, you ain't got to remember my name. He said, just call me one of those redeemed fellas.
Okay. Is he still alive?
He is.
Oh,
I talk to him all the time.
Yeah.
We love you, James. He actually religiously watched Gospel Diaries.
Well, there was hate. Love now abides. Where there was confusion, peace now reigns. Oh, yeah. I'm walking
with Jesus. I'm a child of the King. All because I am redeemed.
Oh, yes.
I am redeemed. I've been bought with a price. Jesus changed my whole life. Yes, He has. If anybody ask you just who I am,
Oh, yes.
tell them I am redeemed.
Wow.
These sinuses got me clogged up here.
What do a song like that mean to you?
Oh man, I used to sing that song. Woo. When it first came out, I used to sing that song because that's exactly my ID, if you want to call it that. That's exactly who I am.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, if you can forget my name, you can just say one of them redeemed fellas.
I know what prayer can do.
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 I found the answer,
I found the answer
and I'll tell
I'll tell it every day.
it. I know what prayer can do. Prayer can see you through.
Prayer will see you through.
Prayer will